Okay, now let's get started. Hello and welcome to Vibrant Living with Nusha. I'm Nusha, so excited to be here with you today to have this conversation about a very important topic, and that is morning habits to jumpstart our day. Now, what I love about this topic is that what I'm going to share is not something that we are taught in school. Neither is it likely something that we may learn from friends or at home. So really excited to share, and wanted to make it clear that what I'm going to share is not necessarily habits like brushing our teeth, making our bed, washing our face, things like that. These are habits that are used by the super successful to prime their day. And my intention for today is to illustrate to you the importance of having habits in these three areas to jumpstart your day. And I will share what my life was like before I had these habits, and then when I adopted them, what happened after I had these habits, and the benefits and the results that I got as a result of enjoying these habits. So by the way, I do use awesome products that I love. They're habitual. I've been using them for the last 13 years, morning and evening. And you can see more and learn more by visiting my website, nushabebahanian.com, under the resources section, under Vibrant Body. So enjoy. There's lots of great videos that go into some explanations as well. So enjoy that. So back to these three habits. Now, I'll share with you what my life was like before having these three habits in these three areas. So I had graduated from university, I got an awesome job, and what started to happen is I was really enjoying the freedom of not having to study and exams and things like that. And so I was going to work probably 8 a.m. to about 5 p.m. By the time I got home, it's 6. And I was really enjoying having the freedom in the evenings to pursue my passions and hobbies and being with friends. So often I would get home later because I was just having so much fun. And what tended to happen is in the morning, I would prolong the process of sleeping as much as possible. I'm sure many of you can relate, and pressing the snooze button. And so I had it down pat. It took me 30, 35, 40 minutes to get to work, and then I could get ready in about 20 minutes if I had to, and do all the things I had to do. However, the feeling was one of just rushing and just feeling like anxious and frantic, and I gotta do this and I gotta do that, and getting in my car and sometimes driving really fast because I needed to get to work on time, which didn't really feel very great. And the day was in such a way that I felt like I was constantly in this energy of catching up with the day. And later on, I realized why I was feeling that way. Now, it was a very subtle feeling. I mean, I would have great days, I was doing great work, but there was a little bit of that feeling there. And so until I read the book, Business of the 21st Century, and I decided to start a lifestyle business. And what was really beautiful about that is I had the opportunity to learn from world-class mentors. And what I found consistent in all of them is they all had a morning habit that covered these three areas, which I will share with you. So these three areas are priming ourselves emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically, of course, which we're used to. Many of us focus on the physical. And as you all know, my podcast and YouTube channel are all about our optimum health overall in the 5 areas. So the physical, the emotional, the mental, the spiritual, and the financial, and looking at elevating all of those harmoniously. So I was super excited to learn about this, and from people like Darren Hardy, Tony Robbins, Brian Tracy. And so my first reaction was, obviously, it's change, it's something different. I thought, this is not going to happen. Like, I can't give up my sleep time. How on earth am I going to find the time? And some of these great leaders were getting up 2 hours ahead of time. Like Brian Tracy, he wakes up 2 hours ahead of the time that he has to leave his home to prime his body, mind, and spirit. And so I started small. That's the key. So if you are someone out there who doesn't have these habits yet, which I will share shortly, then my suggestion is to start small, like I did. And so what I did is I said, you know what, I can wake up 15 minutes earlier, and I'm going to give 5 minutes to each one of these habits. So the habits cover 3 areas. The first area is the body, priming the body. Now, what does Tony Robbins do for this? When he gets out of bed, he actually jumps into like a tank of water that's like, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's like below 0 or something. And he just plunges right in there and plunges right out, which is like a jolt to his body to wake him up. Now, I'm not suggesting we all do that kind of thing, but there's one example of someone priming their body, is just getting it ready for the day. And so what I did when I first started is I started with stretches. So I started to stretch for about 5 minutes. And, you know, eventually, as I got more and more into this process, I started to work out early in the morning. So I would get up. Eventually, I got up 2 hours early, but I will get to that part of the story. So 5 minutes. So the first area was the body. And the second area is the mind, is to nourish the mind. And so I would actually do that on my way to work. So as I mentioned, it was about 35-40 minutes drive to work. So what I did is I turned my car into a mobile university. It was awesome. I was always learning something new. And before I had learned about this habit, I was listening to the radio. And I was listening to, after I reflected on this, I realized that I was listening to songs that were sad. I was listening to things on the radio that may not have served where I wanted to go for my future. So I was really excited to be listening to the thoughts and the ideas of some great leaders in the areas that I was interested, which is health, wellness, business, leadership. So the 3 areas that we want to prime is our body, our mind, and our spirit. So what I did for my spirit was I would take 5 minutes and just sit and just be with myself and my thoughts, which we can call is meditation. And what was really interesting to observe after I had started to just carve out 15 minutes of time every single day, every morning, is that I felt more in control of my day. I think for those of you that already have these habits, you probably know what I mean, and you know, please feel free to share your experiences. And for those of you that may not have these habits yet, I invite you to consider taking them on and to see for yourself and experience for yourself. And so just this 15 minutes made a difference in the quality of my day. I felt like I was more in control of my day versus me running after my day. And so this was my transition, was starting with 15 minutes. And then I started to really enjoy how I was feeling. And I started to increase it to an hour. And then I started with 2 hours. So I would go work out in the morning for about 40-45 minutes. And then I would meditate. And then on my way to work, I would listen to all kinds of nourishing things that would feed my mind. And what eventually started to happen is that the quality of my day went way up. And when I talk about living a vibrant, fulfilling life, this is how I would describe it. My days were fulfilling, they were vibrant, they were more productive, I was more focused. And what I didn't mention is that I started with the meditation for 5 minutes, but then I increased my meditation to about 15 minutes. And then I also started to, in terms of connecting with my spirit, I also started to create a why statement. And this is connecting to your soul and just checking in, like, why am I here? You know, Benjamin Franklin had a, what did he call it? The power of good, something of that nature. But every morning he would wake up and he would ask, what good can I do today? And so I created, like many who are in a lifestyle business, create a why statement as to why am I getting up, getting out of bed? What is my purpose? And I'd also write out and read my why statement. And this created even more clarity. You know, in the first few episodes, I talk about creating intentions and the power of intention. And so in the morning, creating all of these things in terms of, you know, what is your why statement, or what is your intention for the day, even to connect with your soul and have some intentions. All of these create more of a quality, higher quality in your day to be more fulfilled. And I found that I was more productive, and I was more focused too, because I knew the things that mattered. And I was less stressed, less anxious, less of a feeling of, you know, trying to catch up with the day. So I highly recommend these practices. So for the body, the mind, and the spirit, and to do things for each of these three areas every single morning to nurture ourselves physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And I guarantee you it will affect your quality of life and also the results that you receive in life. And you know, one of the results I received is within 3 years I was able to just full-time work on this lifestyle business, which I absolutely love. So the results do happen. It's just a matter of sticking with it. And one of the books that I love is the one by Darren Hardy called The Compound Effect. And in this book, he talks about how our daily choices create our destiny, literally. And he has examples in the book where both people have the same intention for the beginning of the year. And based on the daily choices these people have made, they end up in completely different places because of these daily habits that they have created. So highly recommend that book. And for those of you that are new to listening to Vibrant Living with Nusha, these books are on my website for your convenience, nushabebahanian.com, under the resources section and under Vibrant Mind. So this is The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. And then another great one, which goes into the science of our habits. And I know some of you may have attempted to create habits and then they go by the wayside. This book called The Power of Habit is super interesting in getting underneath what is it that actually has me maybe sabotage my own habits and my attempt to have some great habits. And so highly recommend this book as well. And the third book, at the beginning I mentioned about some of the great products that I use morning and evening in terms of nourishing my body. And interestingly enough, these products are science-based, and the founder also created a book called The Healthy Home with his son. And I absolutely love this book. And the reason for that is that we hear a lot of people talk about our physical health and how to take care of it, and there's no shortage of information for that. And what's brilliant about Dr. Wentz is that he looked even further, and he said, look, we spend 50+% of our time at home, and let's take a look at every room in the home to see any particular toxins or any chemicals or things that are in our space that are affecting our health. So this book is super interesting in that it goes into each one of the rooms in your home, and it helps you learn and identify some of the things that may not be serving you, such as, I know some people do this, but having a cell phone right beside your bed. And I know that can be a habit for some people, is they have it right beside their bed as an alarm clock, and then they wake up and there it is. They start to get into the world of email and texting. And, in my experience, what has worked is for me to protect the time in the morning for myself and to prime my body, my mind, and my spirit so that I am nourished. And then from there to go out and serve and connect with the world, because I can do so in a more powerful way. So I do invite you to take a read, and there are some videos you can watch online as well about the healthy home, which are fascinating. So thank you for being here today, my friends. It is such a pleasure to share with you in this way, and I would love to hear where you're at. Some of you are totally new to these 3 areas and creating these habits, and I would love to hear if some of you consider to actually take on these habits. What happens? What's your experience? Has your experience and quality of life been elevated to be more vibrant and fulfilled? And for those of you, friends, that already prime and nourish your body, your mind, and your spirit to jumpstart your day every day, would love to hear some of the practices that you have, because we all have practices in these areas, but they can look very different. Some people would like to stretch for 5 minutes, others can go out and walk their dog, and there's so many different ideas. Another is Tabata, for example. So please do share. We'd love to hear what your practices are. And also, importantly, is what are some of the feelings and results that you've been getting? So what's your sense of fulfillment now that you've implemented those practices, and also what are some of the results you've been getting in your life? So thank you. You can share below wherever you see this video, or you can go to our Vibrant Living community and we can take the conversation there. We'd love to get to know you better. Okay, friends, such a pleasure to be here with you today to talk about this very important topic, and that is ways that we can jumpstart our day so we can have a vibrant, fulfilling day and set ourselves up for that success every day. So until next time, be vibrant, be bright. It's your birthright. Now, let's go out there and shine our light. Thank you for investing this time with me on the Vibrant Living with Nusha podcast. I'm so glad that you joined our conversation. If you would take 2 minutes to positively impact someone's life by sharing this episode, that would be wonderful. Please leave us a review by visiting iTunes. Let us know what you enjoy and what you'd like to see more of. It will support us on our journey to causing a worldwide epidemic of vibrant living. Until next time, be vibrant, be bright. It's your birthright. Now, let's go out there and shine our light.